Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country and to do so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out.
What's up, guys? We are here live once again. And I'm sorry about my weird lighting. I know this is a Zoom thing, I think. I don't know exactly, but I look like I'm in some kind of room with red lighting, but obviously not the case. I might have to turn another light on here in the back. But tonight, we are going to do another rando Thursday night broadcast, and this is one of these subjects that we felt like we really had to talk about because it has been on our lips so many times over the last, I don't know, several years, that it feels like we should just talk about it. And what do you think, David? This is intense what we have going on, and I know a lot of people were highly disappointed.
Well, you're going to see something here tonight that you're not going to see on any of the major news outlets, because tonight I'm going to reveal the Epstein files to all of you. And now, wait a minute. They were here a minute ago. Where'd they go? Trust me, they were here a minute ago, but now they're gone. So doggone, you just got to trust me. They were here. Them files, I tell you what, they must have been written in disappearing ink, you know?
I heard that was just a conspiracy theory, David, actually. I think that you might be mistaken because there are no files, remember?
Oh,
and we've really been just slandering Epstein and just pummeling him for no reason, actually. I feel really bad. And I just can't believe Ghislaine Maxwell, she is suffering from a crime like this. I mean, my goodness, this is awful.
Well, and it was something just come up. It was from 6 hours ago that Mr. Trump actually held talks with some people about pardoning Miss Maxwell. It's Mr. Trump is considering it and discussing it. So this is just going to get wilder and wilder.
I agree, man. This is and when I heard about it, when I actually watched the video, which I'll actually show the video if people want to see the video, I can put that up here in a little bit. But I'm pretty sure most of you guys have already seen it. But basically, Trump says, as you guys saw in the intro, that I can't believe you guys are still asking about this thing, this dirtbag, basically, just nonchalantly as if it's nothing. And man, to me, as a person who looks at the news as almost like an act or theater, and a very real theater at that, like a very well-written, well thought out theater, I really believe that it is. And I can only wonder what comes on the horizon next. And we have to remember this, David. Remember, he hired some very specific people in his cabinet, some people who had backgrounds in entertainment, such as wrestling, such as UFC, and such as all these things. And if you can imagine a story progressing in wrestling, do you remember how many times that the hero, you would do something and it just made you wonder, like, what is he doing here? Like, what is going on? And you're waiting to see the next one, to see, is he going to come back and go back around, or is he going to join the NWO with the Hulkster and all those different people? There's that mind. That's how I feel when I'm watching it. And but I don't know. What about you? How do you feel? It is disappointing at the same time, but I do feel like I'm watching a TV series.
Well, the one thing this is going to do, it's going to cause some hardcore Trumpies to see through the facade. And if nothing else, I think that's going to be a good thing. But it is so disingenuous. Back when the MAGA base was revving everybody up, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, They were all screaming, the Epstein files are real. We're going to expose that client list. And now that trio, they're the ones saying that there are no files, they don't exist. And it's pretty disingenuous and it stinks. It really does stink. And to even add more flavor to the whole thing, the Harvard lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, he has come out and said that he knows there is a client list and he knows who's on it, but he's bound by confidentiality. And also, Bill O'Reilly had put up an article today about a conversation he personally had with President Trump. And President Trump told him that we can't release those files. Too many innocent people would get hurt. But Mr. Trump, according to the conversation related to Bill O'Reilly, he was speaking to Mr. O'Reilly just like they're real. He knows they're real and we can't release them. Innocent people will get hurt. So it stinks. It really, really stinks to high heaven. And I think probably like Tim Burchett, he's the congressman from Tennessee, and he could be the closest thing we have to an honest politician. And what Tim Burchett said is that, yeah, absolutely, those files were real, but you'll never see them because they've been destroyed. And I believe 100% no one's ever going to see them. They've been destroyed, and that's the way it is.
See, I have a take on it that I believe there's other options too. I think that it's really possible because we already know there is. Anybody that's been paying attention knows that there's something because they've prosecuted somebody for it. Other people have been mentioned. Flight logs have already been taken out, and videos have been talked about. Witnesses have come forth. One's already died, but all of these things have happened. So we know there's not nothing. We know that. But my question is, if it's not destroyed, like you're saying that this guy said, I know it's not you saying that, but like he's saying, then to me, there's only like maybe one or two other possibilities. And one that I can think of that really almost rings true, almost like it has to ring true to me, if the other's not the truth, is that Trump holds the fulcrum of the blackmail and he is prepared to use it. Something that really struck me is an interview I heard, and he basically said that I can pass on my will, I can pass anything, we can get past anything we want. And everything that he's come through with has been passing. Even this crazy bill that we talked to, it's not even really crazy. It's actually pretty amazing that that already got passed just a few days ago. I'm going to be talking about it tomorrow on the Midnight Ride, but we talked about this back in our episode we did on the Trump Encipher in 2025, and we talked about how this would be, if he could pass this, this would be the most amazing thing that ever could happen for him and for the power shift to happen. And in my mind, when I was presenting it, I was like, there's no way that this will ever pass, but it did in fact pass just a few days ago. It's crazy to me to see that everything he's saying and doing is passing right through. Every suit is passing right through, almost as if he holds some kind of power or sway over some of these people. I mean, that's just a thought.
Yeah. And right after the big, beautiful bill passed, the narrative was there are no Epstein files. Right after it passed, there were no Epstein files.
Yeah.
And now these Epstein tapes that have been released, they are an absolute hoot. Where this fella, Wolf was his name, and he has over 100 hours of audio interview with Mr. Epstein, and the Daily Beast and others been writing about it. But in these tapes, Mr. Epstein claims that he and Mr. Trump were besties for over 10 years. And there's a lot of photographic evidence that supports that. Mr. Epstein claimed that Mr. Trump and Melania first got together right there on the Lolita Express. And there's some things we can't even discuss that Mr. Epstein said about a lot of Mr. Trump's proclivities. And of course, this is just what Mr. Epstein claimed. And their feud goes back to they were besties for over 10 years, according to what Mr. Epstein said. And then in 2004, there was a mansion down in Florida that both of them wanted. And Mr. Trump bought this mansion out from under Mr. Epstein. And I guess that's where it went south over that real estate quabble when Trump bought the mansion that Epstein wanted. But it is very, very it is not putting Mr. Trump in any kind of a good light. Here again, these are just accusations from a man whose character is not real good anyway. But the thing I'm really watching here is that the left mainstream media, they are chomping at the bit and have for a long time on anything to smear Trump. There has been little to no outrage and discussion on the left about these Epstein tapes. And this is what makes me to believe that the Democrats, as well as the Republicans, they don't want these files released because it would take people out on both sides all the way to the top. And I think your idea that Mr. Trump might have the Trump card on the blackmail game, I think it's very possible, very believable for me at this point.
I agree. He got into the casino business, into his, once he really stepped into who he was in the casino business. And we both know this because we've talked about it on different episodes, but his first casino was a COINTELPRO casino that he took over from another guy that was running surveillance and running these things at this casino. And that was his first casino. So I don't think personally that he's in these in these videos doing these things. I think that he is a very calculated person and has been calculating his rise from the time that he was a child, if not before, somebody calculating it for him before that. I don't think that anything he's doing is by, oh, I'm making a mistake here. I think he's calculated this for a long time. Just like I said in the Trump Encipher, something's very different with Donald Trump than there is with other normal people. There's so many things that lead me to believe that he's here to usher in something. I mean, we're in 2025, and I don't know if you remember when we talked about some of that stuff, but there's so many things that tie into his arrival, the golden age, the golden dawn. No, I'm sorry, not the golden dawn, but the golden age, and just the year 2025 in general. It's pretty amazing. I do plan on bringing a lot of that stuff back up tomorrow because there's a lot more than meets the eye about this.
Yeah, and the reason why Mr. Trump got involved with casinos, and there was a fellow by the name of Roy Kahn, and we talked about Roy Kahn a lot on the JFK Midnight Ride we did. I think it's on Rumble. I don't even know if it's on the YouTube side, but anyway, Roy Kahn was a very, very feared individual, and he was a flaming homosexual. And Mr. Kahn, and this was back during the Reagan days, and Roy Kahn would bring his elite male prostitutes as his companion, and he'd take them to these conservative fundraising dinners for the Republicans. Everybody knew it, and nobody would say a word because Mr. Kahn had a reputation for making people go away. He was the mob lawyer. He was feared. He was really feared. And he was connected by the investigation into the Kennedy assassination with, according to the investigation, all of the links come back to a company in Texas named Permadex. And Mr. Kahn was one of the funders and lawyers for Permadex. And one of the goals of Permadex was to establish gambling casinos. And when Roy Kahn went to New York and met Donald Trump, then Mr. Trump began getting into gambling casinos. And it's just well known the connections with Roy Kahn and with Fat Tony Salerno. And Mr. Trump built Trump Towers out of concrete during the concrete strike in New York City, which of course was controlled by Fat Tony Salerno. So Fat Tony got Trumpy his concrete. But there were multiple times when Mr. Trump and Mr. Khan and Mr. Salerno, they were seen together openly many times, eating and partying and whatever. So, it just really, I've lost the glow of the image that is trying to be sold to us for a long time. And here again, like John says many times, we're not lefties. We're not supporting this insanity that the Democratic Party is lifting up. But at the same time, I think one thing that this is going to do, it's going to really take the shine off of Mr. Trump for a lot of his hardcore base.
So one thing that you said here that kind of made me think too. So we know that he was involved with this guy that had a basically a lifestyle of causing blackmail to happen and using it for his own power. We can't forget that his grandpa, Trump's grandpa, was actually a pimp as well. And the pimps always hold a lot of power because they know who's out doing what, and they have that power over people. They've always had a lot of that power, the powerful pimps of old times, and even times now. Obviously, we're talking about Epstein, people like him. So that could be something that's been passed down as a power play, because ultimately that's the biggest power play. If you can get all of the world's most powerful people in the world on camera doing things that are horrific, that if people knew about it, they would be ruined, then you can control every single one of those people. And what it kind of reminds me of, and David, you could be more specific on this, but there was a king of Judah who, when he became ruler, he called all the worshipers of Baal and together. He said, I can't remember what the name of the one before him was. He said, this guy worshiped Baal. He's like, but I'm really going to worship Baal. He's like, come on, we want all of you. And then he killed every one of them. And it in my mind, I'd love to think, just to give him the benefit of the doubt or giving grace to him, because I don't know the struggles of the mighty, of the billionaires and of all that, but I'd like to think that that's what he's been doing. He's been gathering this, and eventually he's going to unleash it to the world. I hope. This is, if I'm looking at a script and I'm thinking, how can I make this powerful, man? How can I make the people just groan for this script? Like I'm making all of a sudden, like, he not only does he use that information to gain power, but then he releases it after that and puts them all on trial. Like, that's how I would end the script. But like we said, there's an interesting script going on. I don't know what the script is 100%. I know that this is a possibility, though, at least, and what I'm hoping for, I guess. But at the same time, man, the wicked seem to flourish, and they seem to just keep going and never get retribution until the day they die. It's amazing.
I would be very glad if that would turn out to be the case. I really would. I don't.
I'll be getting my popcorn and be like, yeah, let's see it.
I'm not a glass half full guy on that one. I'm really not. But
we'll see though. Well, this is a good thing about like this kind of stuff is we can speculate, because we will see what's going to happen. Like we're going to find out in the next year or two. So I'm just hopeful. A lot of people think I'm dreaming or naive. I'm not. Look, I'm just as pessimistic as the next guy, but at the same time, like if I'm looking at it like a script, that's what I'm writing in if I'm writing the script. Of course I'm not. So there you go. Yeah.
And I pray for President Trump. The Bible tells us to pray for our leaders. And I pray for the peace of Jerusalem as the Bible instructs us. But like John says, we'll have to wait and see. But another real interesting episode and we talked about this in the JFK Midnight Ride, and there was a Jewish billionaire, and I cannot call his name right now, but we laid it all out on the ride, and he had basically a party room at the Plaza Hotel in New York. And people come, J. Edgar Hoover would come there and drag, and the elite of the elite would come there. big officials in the Catholic Church, and it was anything goes hootie bob. And this guy was blackmailing a lot of really big time folks from the stuff that he got from his parties. And his wife divorced him and turned state's evidence and testified at a RICO crime investigation in the state of New York. And the things that came out were really, really impressive. But what happened when this fella got under heat from the RICO investigation? Roy Kahn took over the party room, and then Donald Trump bought the hotel. He bought the entire Plaza Hotel where the operation was run from. So, I tell you what, it's there's so many things here that I can say I'm right back to where I was in the beginning. There in the beginning when they said Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. I think millions of people had a knee-jerk reaction. There ain't no way he killed himself, and that's still where I'm at with it. I
Man,
don't believe there's any. We've seen that movie, haven't we? There's no way he killed himself. So I'm right back to where I was at the start with it.
I think it's funny that, well, when I listened to the video of Pam Bondi saying that they always have a minute missing every night on the video because it's from the systems from 1990 something, and I'm thinking, like, why would they have always 1 minute missing every night? That makes no sense whatsoever on any kind of camera system. I mean, I remember having to switch camera systems out at places that I worked and switch out tapes and do stuff like that, but generally, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm the crazy one, but it just seems so sus to have that going on without a backup camera running to switch the tapes at the same time for a high security facility. I mean, come on, no way. And this isn't even to mention all of the stuff with Diddy. We saw Diddy got acquitted lately. Not acquitted, but he didn't take any heavy charges. Like I said when we did the episode about him, I looked at his indictment and it looked very weak, and I didn't think that he was going to get in trouble for most of those things. And then we saw the idea that Trump might even pardon him. We heard it from Suge Knight, and we heard it from Trump himself, which makes me wonder if Diddy's racket isn't also part of this whole deal that we're seeing going on, because this all happened all in the same time. There was hardly any media about it, but I mean, we've got a lot going on here. To me, if I'm looking at it, it looks like a intelligence operation that somebody's now has the fulcrum and they're taking it and running with it. And by all accounts, it looks like Trump has that fulcrum. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I hate to be a broken record here, but he's getting anything he wants passed right now. Anything. It doesn't matter. Anything he wants to do, boom. Any kind of lawsuit, boom. It's all going through for him in his favor. And so it just makes one wonder what, if that's the case. And even if it is, it still makes people very disappointed. There was a video I played at the beginning, and it was just a cartoon character. It looked like Alex Jones, but his voice in the background was Alex Jones' voice, and he was almost crying. He actually said he was crying, and he said he puked when he got out of the car because of what this was going on. But even if people don't see the bigger picture like Trump, or even if he does see the bigger picture, which I'm assuming that everything he does is a lot. I don't pretend to understand the information that he holds or the life that he's led. I'm not going to pretend to understand that. But what I do know is that a lot of people know a lot of people were hurt. A lot of young people were hurt. A lot of powerful people seem to be getting away with everything. And it is heartbreaking. And I know there's scriptures that talk about this, that in Psalm 93, for instance, is one of my favorite scriptures that talk about this, where David's talking about the wicked prospering. But it is heartbreaking, man. I've seen a lot of people just very upset over the whole thing, and I don't really know what to say about it other than the fact that to other people that are watching. I would say this. One thing I could say is we need to really understand that they want that energy from us. They want to feed off of whatever energy we're putting out from this, whether it be pain, fear, all of those things are feelings of the enemy. Those are fruits of the enemy. And so we definitely need to be aware of that and not let ourselves get highly affected, I guess, by these things.
And it's a known fact that the child pornography industry and the sex trafficking industry, it is in the level of billions and billions and billions. People say that the cartels and human traffickers are making more from child pornography and child exploitation than they are from drugs. And I would believe that. And I think, I mean, you're just naive to believe that here we have the Mexican cartel with their billions and billions and billions of dollars, and to think that they haven't bought them a basket full of American politicians. You're just naive if you think that's the case. And it rings disingenuous to me when the politicians will rant about how corrupt the Mexicans are. I just got to giggle, just got to giggle on that. But if such is the case, and everyone says that that's a given fact, you would have to have people, who would be the best candidates for someone that would facilitate that. And Mr. Epstein, who had two airplanes that he'd fly between all of his elite secluded properties with the movers and shakers of the world, British royals. I mean, he's got to be at the top of the list. And you've got to have people of the level of Epstein and to exist to pull this off. And it's reality. So it's hard not to connect the dots there in my mind to see the real deep evil that is going on here. And the ability that these people have to cover their tracks is amazing. But just like Mr. Epstein is the proof of the fact that when people at this level are in danger of being exposed, people die. People die. And these people they're going to stack up the dead bodies before they let this out. I agree with Mr. Burchett. The files are real, but we ain't never going to see them.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, David. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think
And
we'll
I
see
would
the
hope
files.
if it's contrary, I'd be so glad. But I'm not the glass half full guy here tonight. But I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I'd be very glad to be wrong on that, because that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion from looking at it. I have no 4-star generals on my speed dial, but just from looking at the way things are, the way they've been, I'd be real surprised if those files ever turn up.
Yeah, you never know, man. Like I said, it's one of those things that we'll probably never. Even the JFK, the files were heavily redacted. There was a lot missing out of them. So even if they do produce more files, I'm sure they'll be heavily redacted. I just hope that somebody's using those files to the best of their ability. That's all I hope. I hope that whoever's got it is using it for good. I really do. I just hope that they're making something good happen with those files, because I mean, that's a really dangerous thing to hold, for one, on those such powerful people. And if Trump was able to pull that off, then my goodness, what a feat, and what a power play that had to happen only with the devil's help. Because I say that, but I mean, I don't know whose help he had doing that. I can't say that for sure, but I can say that blackmail seems to be the devil's game.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to be, because in Job, we remember the story where he goes from going to and fro on the earth, looking at people and getting information, intel on people. Then he goes to the throne room and he says, I've gone up and down the earth everywhere, and I've seen it all. And God, and he basically says how all these people just, they're ready to fall. And he says, have you considered Job? And so there was that scenario where the devil's gaining intel because he wants to accuse the brethren. Well, this is really no different to me. This is a gathering intel to be able to accuse people. But sometimes, if it's not just to gather intel to accuse people, and you're setting it up and you're making it a stumbling block for people, this is definitely going back to like the teachings of Balaam, right? It goes back to where they set up these things to catch people up to fall. But if they're already falling and they're using it as power, I don't know the rules of the game on that. Maybe for all I know, an angel came to him and said, listen, you're going to take control of this stuff and you're going to do this, and then boom. And then God will put them to their punishment one day. I know that, all things hidden will come to the light, maybe not in this physical realm, but eventually it will come to light, and there will be retribution and justice. And that's all I can hope for anyway, because it is disappointing.
Yeah. And now would be a great time to pray for President Trump, as the Bible instructs us that he might really do something heroic here. It'd be really great.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned parties earlier too, the people that throw these parties. This is P. Diddy, that's how he started, was as a party thrower. When you throw the best parties in town, all the best people come to the party, the biggest people in the city. And I used to throw parties in Evansville, and I didn't have all the biggest people in the city, but a lot of people in the city came to my parties. I mean, there would be nights, it was in downtown Evansville, where we'd have 300 to 400 people at our house during this party. This was before I was married. I had one of those big old hood houses there in Evansville, Indiana, down on Washington Avenue. And every Friday and Saturday night, this house would be popping. I'm talking about people all the way down the street coming in, everything going on, whether we wanted it or not. It just became a natural place for this to happen. And we would have all kinds of people, police officers, everybody coming on. And I wasn't a blackmail artist and wasn't trying to gain blackmail on people, but I could see how easy it would have been for me to set up cameras in the rooms, because I know that there were people, powerful people, that wouldn't want me knowing what they were doing in the other room with that girl that I saw go in other rooms with girls, and it would be easy to plant these things on people. And so imagine, these guys have been doing it, David, since they were young. Like, they've been trained in this way. They've been knowing it. So who knows what they have.
Yeah, and this is a card the devil's been playing for a long, long time. And when the drugs and the liquor's flowing and the girls are cute, isn't long before people put themselves in a compromised position. And it's a old story that works very, very well.
I agree. David, I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to present, but I was going to, before I bring this Bible verse up, did you have anything you wanted to say before I do that? Okay.
No, you go right ahead.
I'd like to read this Psalm 73, if I can get it to pull up without, there we go, here we go. I'm sorry about the lighting. I don't know what's going on with Zoom, guys. It just keeps zooming in on me, glowing white, and then other things. So I'm sorry you have to see that, but I can't really do anything about it. Normally me and David are in the studio doing these, but we wanted to pop these up midweek for you guys on Thursdays sometimes, just so that we can see you guys midweek and have a conversation. And so if you guys really like what we're doing here, please let us know by hitting the like button, commenting, subscribing, doing stuff like that. It really does help, and we're very, very much appreciative of that. So here we go, Psalm 73, and I'm just going to read the whole thing because it's very interesting to me, because we are Israel. Remember this. We are Israel. We are the seed according to promise, according to Galatians. So this is talking about us as well. It says, truly God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish, when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. They are corrupt. They speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doth God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. Verily, I have cleansed my heart in vain and washed my hands in innocency. For all the day long have I been plagued and chasteneth every morning. If I say I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generation of my children. When I thought to know this, I was too painful for me. It was too painful for me. Until I went into the sanctuary of God, then understood I their end. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I and ignorant, I was a beast before thee. Nevertheless, I am continually with thee. Thou hast holden me by my right hand. Thou shalt guide me with thy counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. And so this is where I want to end it there. After this is all done, those who are Israel, those who are righteous, will be received in glory, and their end of the wicked is going to be like a horrible dream that utterly consumes them. And it doesn't seem that way in the flesh. It doesn't seem that way.
Yeah.
But man, to know this and to believe this, I feel like to me has given me all the joy that I need to be able to continue, because this world, if not for this, if not for the eternal justice of our Father, then I wouldn't want to live on this earth anymore, because it's not fair. There's nothing fair about the wicked flourishing while they're taking advantage of people and hurting people and using people and just destroying, hitting the delete button on people, ending their lives before they're even here. There's nothing fair about that. There's nothing fair about losing people and doing all these things, but we're in a fallen world. And to know that one day there will be retribution, that's the only thing that would keep me wanting to continue. I don't see how people without that faith want to continue on this earth.
Yeah. And this is a problem that scripture addresses a lot. And in the Psalms, there's the prosperity of the wicked is dealt with in Psalm 37. It says, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity." And this is something that we have to keep in balance, because it gets frustrating when you see the wicked continue their evil ways and so many children being hurt. But we have to remind ourselves of Psalm 74 and Psalm 37 and others that tell us there is a just and holy God, and he will set things straight, and he will do so in a big way. And like the Bible says, some men's sins go beforehand and some men's sins follow after. In other words, some people are going to get what they deserve in this life, and some of them, they're going to get it at the judgment seat. So this is what we have to realize, that God is in control, and that the Israel of God will be blessed and rewarded. And those evildoers, it's not going to be good for them. And it will certainly be a terrible retribution upon them.
Yeah, man. And another like good sign, if you are being punished in this earth, that means God loves you, because it says in the scripture that he punisheth who he loves. So if he's allowing you to just sin and flourish and do all those things, does he love you? Or will, because eventually most people that he loves, that he'll send them through something that has them lose a lot of things when they're doing wicked, and so that they know that they're wicked. Because I can tell you through my wicked times, David, when I was bitter against God, I was really bitter against God. It wasn't really that I didn't believe in him, but I was bitter. And actually, I'm going to be discussing some of that at some point, really just discussing like the bitterness that made me kind of turn my heart against God. But I couldn't see the wicked. I couldn't see the wicked, but I knew I was doing it. I was doing the wicked, and I was being punished like left and right. I mean, there was no prospering for me in the wicked. I mean, it seemed like if I did something, boom, I'm getting in trouble. I'm going to jail here. I'm going to jail there. Like, no, I couldn't get away with nothing. It was amazing. And so looking back, I was pissed. I was like, God, why, like, leave me, like, why can't I just do something? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's going on? But now I look back and I'm like so grateful that God just put a firm stop. Like, boom, no, you're not going to do this. No, you're not going to do this. You're not going to go on tour again. You're not going to do this. You're going to jail instead. You're going here. Whatever he had to do to keep those roadblocks in front of me, to keep me from being one of those people, he did, man. And it's an amazing thing. And if people are listening tonight and they feel that tug, it's no coincidence that you're here feeling that tug. There's been thousands of people that have felt that tug, that have listened to this broadcast, and not only this, that are feeling it just by having visions of God coming to them, Jesus coming to them and showing them who he is. And it's happening all around the world. And I will say this, that he can forgive you of your sins. None of us are worthy. I was not worthy. I am not worthy to stand before God without his blood, his righteousness, his redemptive qualities of sin. He rose from the dead to be the firstborn among the dead, and we can be the sons of God and raised from the dead as well. And so we need to accept him, who he is. And if this is you, fall on your knees before God.
Amen.
And accept him. So David, that's all I have for tonight. If you got anything else before we end this out, go for it.
Well, that is such a good place to leave this broadcast, that whatever, and it's such a, people have so much anger right now. There's so much anger and rage. There's so much frustration. And the answer to your spiritual problems is Jesus. It's time to turn to Jesus. Things are getting so crazy, and the things are just going to escalate. So that is the great takeaway of this broadcast. Turn to Jesus before it's too late. You don't have to go through these perilous times without him.
Amen to that, guys. And thank you so much. We're going to be doing the Midnight Ride on Saturday, and we're going to be talking about some of these topics, but actually a lot more. And so I'm excited to be broadcasting that with you guys Saturday. Me and David, we've been doing the Midnight Ride since 2016, and this is we're almost, David, almost at our 10-year anniversary of the Midnight Ride. Can you believe that? It's crazy to me.
I can believe it, and I mean, the years have gone by so fast, and it's I'm just very thankful that the Lord has put us on this great journey. It's been truly a blessing.
Truly a blessing. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys Saturday on the Midnight Ride. And thanks again for listening.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
I just really need this administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out.